Nobody is born clean. That's an illusion we gladly accept because the truth is far darker. Somewhere deep inside each of us lies something ancient, not a memory, not a trauma, something that was there before you and will remain after. Carl Jung knew this, a practicing psychiatrist, a man who had stared into other people's abysses for too long and learned to make out patterns in the dark. He called them archetypes, and from that moment on, nothing looked like coincidence anymore. If you want to keep pulling on this thread, subscribe. There's more darkness ahead, and it's worth exploring together. Jung dissected the mind the way a seasoned detective dissects a testimony into 3 layers: consciousness, a lit room where you believe you're in control; the personal unconscious, what you shoved into a drawer and pretended to forget; the collective unconscious, the basement you'd rather not acknowledge exists. That's where the archetypes live, in the basement. They're not yours. They belong to no one and to everyone at once. Structures imprinted in the psyche long before you managed to say your first word. Jung's student Neumann compared them to the body's organs. The heart doesn't ask permission to beat. The liver doesn't wait for your instructions. Archetypes work the same way, quietly, unstoppably, regardless of whether you're aware of their presence or not. And when they break down, so do you, catastrophically. Archetypes can't be caught in the act, can't be presented as evidence. They only manifest indirectly, through symbols, through images that surface in dreams, in myths, in the ravings of schizophrenics, in the sacred texts of peoples who never laid eyes on one another. That's what Jung noticed first. Too many coincidences to call them coincidences. The same figures, the same motifs, in a Greek myth and in the hallucination of a patient from Zurich. Something was governing both of them, something that needed neither postal service nor shared language. Here, it's important to understand the difference between a sign and a symbol. A sign is a pointer. It says, it's right around the corner. A symbol is a hole in the floor. You look down and see no bottom. A symbol doesn't explain, it beckons. It points not to an object in the world, but to something inside you that you haven't yet named and perhaps never will. Archetypes speak only in the language of symbols. They have no other words. Among the archetypes, there is one Jung called the self, the central figure in this whole case. Its role, to hold everything else together, to keep the psyche from falling apart. The self never speaks of itself directly. It appears in images: the mandala, a circle with a point at its center; the cross, the 4 cardinal directions, the navel of the world, the axis of the universe, and, inevitably, again and again in every culture, the image of God. Jung was not naive. He understood what people would say, "You're reducing God to a projection of the mind." But he shook his head. He was saying only that the unconscious is the medium from which religious experience grows. What stands behind that medium, he didn't know, and he honestly admitted he never would. Sometimes the most truthful position is to stand before an open door and make no claim about what lies beyond it. And here, a question without an answer. Where did archetypes come from? Jung gave no definitive answer, and that, perhaps, is the one thing that does him credit as a thinker. Sometimes he spoke of evolution, millions of years of experience imprinted in the structure of the mind, like growth rings in a tree. Other times, of Platonic ideas, eternal and unchanging, existing somewhere beyond time and flesh. A metaphysical question, he would say, unanswerable.
Some questions don't exist to be solved. They exist to keep you up at night.
And yet Jung left the human being no choice whether to hide or not. Archetypes have been working inside you since birth. The only question is whether you know it. To become conscious of what rises from the depths, that was the only task he considered truly human. Not to conquer the darkness, not to destroy it, to light a fire inside it. One small flame in an enormous dark basement. But that's already something.